25 meeting of the Newmarket School Board. Let's start the meeting as we always do with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, first on the agenda this meeting, we are going to hold a public hearing, which has arisen because as we began doing the first year's worth of work on the roof of the high school, the contractor discovered that the work we've been planning to do in the second year needs to be done rather more imminently. They found signs of that part of the roof starting to buckle, which was not something that we really wanted to kick the can on. So before we kick off the public hearing, I do just want to make it clear to the public, this isn't new taxation, it isn't new money raised, it's money we already have in the trust fund and we're planning to spend next summer. We're just going to bring that forward by a year in order to not take the risk on any sort of a failure in that section of roof that we were going to replace next summer anyway.
And when we're talking buckling and failure, we're talking about drainage and roof covering, not any kind of structural issues.
All right, let's open the hearing and then we'll have our subject matter expert sort of clarify what we mean by this.
Cool.
So, to the inhabitants of the town of Newmarket, you are hereby notified that pursuant to New Hampshire RSA 198:20C, the Newmarket School Board will hold a public hearing on the expenditure of funds from the School Repair and Maintenance Trust Fund in the amount of $154,800 for unanticipated roof repairs at the junior-senior high school. This hearing is required under New Hampshire RSA 198:20C. So with that open, Dave, if you would like to just give us a quick synopsis of how we came to this point.
Sure. Roof repair is a little bit of a misnomer. It's a roof replacement. It is the rubber roof. What adheres that to the subsurface below it is letting loose. So the roof is actually stretching and moving in the winds. And the issue we're having is anywhere where we have a roof penetration, and normally the roof is nice and tight around that penetration, we're now starting to get ovals as the roof stretches and moves. We got an estimate of $8,000 to do a repair, but they wouldn't even guarantee that repair would get us through the winter. Since we were planning on replacing it next summer anyway, we figured why not just do it early. Preventive maintenance is always cheaper than reparative maintenance, and rather than have leaks and things to deal with, this is the way to go. I do take it as a bit of a personal failure that I didn't see this coming. I'm not sure how I would see this coming, but it does weigh on me that we had to do this. That roof was installed approximately early 1997. It's a 20-year roof that's been up there for 28 years, so we certainly have gotten our life expectancy, our money out of it. We do have a number of roofs that are beyond their life expectancy, and those are the first ones on our schedule to get replaced. This one wasn't leaking, the roof above us here was one of the first to be replaced because we've had repetitive leaks in this space, so it got bumped to the front of the list. The roof there hasn't been leaking regularly. So it was bumped further back, and unfortunately, it's catastrophically failed. So we'd like to have it replaced.
All right, thank you, Dave. If there are any members of the public present who would like to comment during the public hearing, we will open the floor now. Going once, going twice. Seeing no members of the public, we will close the public hearing at 5:19 p.m. All right, the board, we'll vote on this as an action item later in the agenda. All right, now we'll open the floor for public comment. Any members of the public who'd like to offer a comment up to 3 minutes on something on the agenda, please come to the microphone. Going once, going twice. Seeing nobody moving toward the microphone, we will close public comment at 5:20 p.m., which coincidentally is the same time that we opened it. Have any members of the board received any public correspondence they'd like to share?
No.
Seeing none, we'll move to board comments and committee updates. Any committees have met since the last time we were together that people would like to share?
Sure. Kathy, Todd, and I met with the paraeducator negotiations team, and continues to be a positive experience with great discussion. And we've got our next meeting next week.
Thank you. Any others?
Nope.
All right, seeing none. Any board comments before we move on?
Would this go to the Backyard Bash comments?
We're actually,
Or is that gonna do that?
yeah, we've got a separate
Yeah,
discussion
I
for
saw
that
that, so-
scheduled. I do.
I'll hold till then.
Okay, thanks. I do want to, I guess, keep reminding people that the Charter Commission is continuing its work and that the public survey is still out there. If you are a member of any of the town Facebook pages, if you get the town newsletter, I'm sure you've seen the QR code and the link for that. And the Charter Commission would like to get as much feedback from the public as possible before wrapping up their final report, or their preliminary report, which is due to the Secretary of State in October. So we'll continue plugging that. All right.
I guess I could say one just quick comment. I'm not sure how helpful it's going to be because I don't have an incoming kindergartner, but I know that the elementary school PTA does an event where kindergartners can, or incoming kindergartners can meet other kindergartners at the rec. They do kind of like a play date, and I believe that they give them different color wristbands so that they can meet some other children that will be in the same class as them. So I can check on the date. I don't believe it has passed yet, but just one of those things that I think sometimes if people aren't on all kinds of social media and if they're not part of the PTA yet, that they may not know that that event is happening. So.
Thank you.
Yep.
Also, I guess, serves as a general reminder that the summer is short and segues nicely into the superintendent report.
Ready?
Ready?
Okay, all right. Yeah, actually, I'll start there. Yeah, it is amazing. I woke up this morning and realized, oh my goodness, 2 weeks from today, the staff come back and we begin our, the 25-26 school year. So the summer has definitely gone by very quickly. I did want to mention on that theme, we did yesterday actually sent out a communication to all families about our annual update being done through IC. It's done entirely online. Within 24 hours, about 10% of everybody has already filled out their forms, which is really remarkable. We're 24 hours after the launch, and we've already got 10% of the forms updated and so forth. We're hoping it will be much more convenient for families. And I promise, the first time you do it, there's a little more effort that has to go in to put things in. But when we get into the cycle of this being an annual thing, literally returning families will be able to go in and say, is that still where I live? Is that still our phone number? Okay, yep. And you go from there. So that's going very well. And I just want to thank Jason Carey and Chris Reeves from our IT department for all the work they've done on that. So it's a major step forward for us. A couple of other things just in terms of, I wanted to just offer some really positive shout outs to some great things that are happening this summer. One of the things that has been very noteworthy is there's an awful lot of student engagement this summer in a number of different programs we have happening through the school district. One that is kind of a new one that I wanted to just take a moment to highlight. Our athletic trainer at the high school, Steve Creamer, is running training opportunities for many of our high school athletes over the course of the summer. There's been dozens and dozens of kids coming in all summer long. Clearly, there's those that are coming in to do training with their specific teams, but there's also kids coming in just doing general training. In fact, our former school board rep, Olivia Blackett, I was in there working with Steve earlier this week. And I wanted to highlight that because it wasn't that long ago, less than 2 years, that we were in a bit of a quandary. We didn't have an athletic trainer. We were struggling. In fact, we had a fairly significant injury that occurred. And so we have entered into an arrangement with Wentworth Douglas Hospital where they provide us a trainer. And for very limited money, it's like $32,000 a year, we get a trainer who is there for all game coverage, but he has also taken it upon himself within that to expand the role and to offer all kinds of opportunities to our kids. So it's a really, really good thing. So I just want to put in a plug for that. It's good that we have the trainer, but Steve Kramer in particular is doing a really nice job with that. Beyond the athletic stuff, we've had a number of really exciting programs, and actually our summer programming ended last week. We had 60 kids in our ESY summer program. We had 44 middle school kids doing summer math enrichment, which is an exciting new opportunity that we created this year, trying to get more kids to be prepared for higher end math, and it's entirely voluntary, but 44 kids choosing to do summer math programming. I was talking to one parent about it just yesterday, and he was just saying, like, I try to offer help to my kid, but they don't need it. They don't want my help, because we have one of our newest teachers, Jacob Zurcher, who is a new math teacher at our high school, is the person facilitating it. He's wonderful. He's a young guy, just really energetic. Kids love him. So that's been really exciting to see. So again, 44 kids doing summer math, and certainly we're talking about like what else can we do on the theme of enrichment opportunities. So there's that.
Could you explain ESY?
Oh, ESY, it's the extended school year program. It's run through our special education program. It's generally, it's programmed through IEPs, but again, it's families get to choose if they want to participate in it, and we've had 60 families, 60 children that have been engaged in it, and again, it's been a great program. Beyond that, we also have been running a Title I summer program with 40 plus kids from that. Most of the kids in it are kids that receive support through our Title I program, but we've opened it up, and there are a number of kids that are not necessarily receiving that support. So it's a nice cross-section of kids, and they run great programs. They had a program with turtles and reptiles, one of their culminating programs. Really, really exciting to see that. And then just the last thing I would mention, we also have credit recovery programming happening this summer for predominantly targeting the high school audience, but there's 20 kids who've been doing credit recovery this summer to get involved. So you take all those numbers, add them together, and it's a couple hundred kids are engaged in various things in the summertime at school. So I think I just think it's really exciting.
And
to
all
see.
volunteer.
Well, credit recovery you could argue is not.
Okay.
I mean, it's volunteer in that you can choose not to do it, but it's
But
necessary.
motivation.
Right? Yeah, motivationally, it's yeah. So there's that. I did want to, since Dave is here, I did want to take a minute to just mention a couple of things. We are in the process, and then Gary, you and I were just chatting about this just before the meeting. We are in the process of updating the capital improvement plan. I had some conversation with Bart McDonough earlier in the week about what they were looking for from the school district to report to the CIP committee. And we obviously need to get our ducks in a row and update everything. So Dave and I will be working on that, and then Gary is the representative to that from the school board, so we will coordinate with Gary to review that. I would expect to have something to put on the board agenda for the next meeting to say, here's the updated CIP plan, because as we're on the subject of summer is winding down, what that also means is all of the budgetary things that we've all been blocking out of our minds comes back pretty quickly, and the CIP becomes a pretty important planning document for budget development. So expect that to be coming. One other thing, just in terms of looking ahead, I wanted to mention at next board meeting, expect to see both the elementary and junior senior high student handbooks coming before you, being updated with all the new policy language and all that stuff. Obviously, with school starting the following week, it would be nice to approve the handbook before school opens, so I would ask you to be ready to do that. I will point out that we have a policy committee meeting next week, and one of the items we need to talk about is the cell phone policy, which is, new, adopted by law. So that's the one variable in the handbooks that will be up in the air a little bit until the board finalizes a policy for the cell phone, but everything else should be ready to go. So just think ahead to that.
Another question. When
Go right
does
ahead.
the cell phone policy have to be in place then?
They have not set a date. There has been no guidance of any kind coming from anyone in Concord to help schools navigate it other than what's in the law. I know that's shocking. The law says that we're supposed to have policy in place that does not allow cell phones and personal devices during academic time, which has been popularly talked about bell to bell. That's been the term that's been used. It's not in the law, but that's the way people talk about it. So basically what we have to do is make sure our policy follows state law, which, spoiler alert, our policy already follows state law, but what we need to do is talk about how we're going to make it happen for real. And I think we have some work to do on that.
Thank you.
The last thing I did want to mention, because this is the last board meeting before we welcome staff back. If you are out there in the community and you're thinking, I would love to be a substitute teacher, or I would love to be a paraeducator, or I have some interest in we have a one tutor position in our behavioral program, as well as a speech language pathologist that we are attempting to hire. If any of those skill sets match you, we have openings for you. Please do apply, and there's a link on our website to tell you how to do that. And that's all I got to say about that.
Connected to people interested in being involved in the schools, next Saturday is a volunteer fingerprinting event at the Newmarket Police Department from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. So whether you're looking to volunteer and you need to be fingerprinted, or you're looking to also substitute teach and need to be fingerprinted, you could do both of those at the police department next Saturday. And I did find the kindergarten meetup is at the rec on Sunday, August 24th from 3 to 5 p.m.
Fantastic.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I just, latching on to that, I really want to thank everyone who has taken time out of their summer, trainers and teachers, and also some of our coaches. I know at the junior high school level have, run some summer leagues that have given the kids a lot of chance to get on the field or on the court. So appreciation to everyone who, take some time away from their summer to chip in.
And I think it's really worth noting, I do think Newmarket as a community is very supportive of kids in all kinds of the recreational activity. It's just great to see. And since we're on the subject of great things happening in the summer, I did want to mention the Newmarket Parks and Rec summer program. It has been, I've lost track of how many hundreds of kids are there, but there's lots of them. And certainly our local library runs amazing summer programming for kids as well. So there's a lot of really great things happening, and our kids are engaged in good, active, positive things.
All right, any other follow-on comments? Great. So we'll move on to, I believe we have a nomination before us tonight.
Yes, we do. Brian, would you come on up? I know the board has already had the opportunity to meet Bryant. Bryant Lee, we actually hired Bryant back in March for the assistant BA position. At the time, he was working alongside of Jana. And actually, when we interviewed Bryant, the conversation that we had was, would you like to be a BA one day? Because even at that point, we were having conversation about transitions and being ready for things. And one of the things that really appealed to us was Bryant's interest in willingness to learn what needed to be learned to be a school BA. So when we hired him, that was the thought. Of course, we thought he was going to have 2 or 3 years to work alongside of Jana before that would happen, but obviously circumstances changed pretty dramatically. So we're fortunate that we have somebody of Bryant's caliber for me to present to you as a nominee to fulfill the BA position. Just some general thoughts. As you know, I introduced you guys to Sue Caswell, who is the former business administrator over in Oyster River, who's been working closely with Bryant, and she's going to continue to mentor Bryant. But I'm very excited at the work we're doing, and I think it's worthy to note that Bryant survived his first audit this week. And the fact that he's standing in front of us with a smile on his face gives you an indication of that. But yeah, clearly we have work to do to support Bryant, to learn the new role and so forth, but he is a remarkably capable person. He comes to us with a wealth of experience. And so the health finance world, you'll see his resume in the packet, remarkable credentials, a guy who definitely, and I put him in the category, we have in the last few years been so blessed that such high caliber people want to work for us. And so with that, I introduce you to Bryant officially as my nomination for business administrator. And I wonder, Bryant, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Todd. Just to share a little bit, I am new to living in New Hampshire, though I'm originally from the region. I grew up in Massachusetts and went to college in Connecticut. But for the last 20 years, I have either lived in Washington, D.C. or Japan. In terms of my professional experience, I have a little over 20 years. And hopefully, if you just glance at my resume, you can see that I've tried to find jobs that are not only at the intersection of finance and development, but are contributing to making a social impact. And certainly working at the school district aligns very much with that mission. As Todd mentioned, for the 12 years previous to this job, I was a health economist. So I conducted research and advised governments on how to sustainably finance their health systems in low-income settings. So part of the technical assistance we would provide was related to planning and budgeting, public financial management, trying to allocate resources optimally and operating efficiently. So I think a lot of that definitely translates. A school district is a resource-constrained setting, so a lot of the challenges are similar. Before that, I served a few roles that are functionally very similar to a BA, so this is like accounting and dealing with audits and budgeting. So I was a finance officer for a couple of international NGOs. And then before that, I worked at a bank for 5 years, so I have some exposure to risk management. In terms of my education, I studied economics at Wesleyan University. I do have an MBA from Georgetown University, and I have a second master's in development and economics from Johns Hopkins. So that's sort of my professional and educational background in a nutshell. And I'll just close by sharing a few thoughts about what it's been like working as an assistant BA. It has been a relatively short period, but I do feel like I've been exposed to a lot. I have, I think, a pretty strong comfort level with the processes in the business office as well as the management systems that we use. But I do acknowledge, there's still going to be quite a learning curve. But I just want to assure you that I'm willing to put in the time and the effort to learn what I need to know And what I don't know, I'll be sure to reach out to colleagues as well as the support network that we plan to set up. And I'm sure you folks on the board will be part of that support. So thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Brian from the board?
Thank you for being here.
I will say there are a few things that are harder than living up to the introduction that this man will give to you in a public setting, and you've already done extremely well on that first test. So welcome, and well, not welcome, you've been here, but welcome to the new role, and we're excited to have you and look forward to working with you as we head into budget season.
Yes, he was simultaneously transitioning into the role. I think it's important for people to realize the challenges that exist at the time of the year that he's coming in here. You're wrapping up one fiscal year, rolling into the new fiscal year, beginning the budget development process, engaging in contract negotiations. There's just a lot.
New health plan.
Yes. So all of those things were part. So I kind of joked with Brian. It's like it's a little bit of a fire hose experience. It's happening very rapidly. But like I said, the fact that he's surviving his first audit and he's smiling, I just feel like I can't say how impressed I've been with the work he's done to date, and look forward to working with him going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
So next on the agenda, we had roof repairs, which we sort of pulled forward into the public hearing. Dave, anything else you'd want to share with us about the roof repairs, or shall we?
Well, the current roof repairs that we already have scheduled that are ongoing. The roof above us here has been replaced. It's been, my hope had been to have this work done prior to summer school starting, but the weather has really done everything it can to foil me in getting these projects done. We finally had some cool days, so the roof repairs are up there. We've also had all the windows on the back of the elementary school have been replaced. That project has been wrapped up, and all of the masonry work around the district has been done. So any missing mortar, cracked bricks, control joints have all been repaired. We're in pretty good shape. It's been a fun summer. Good projects.
And if I could just for the board's edification, the trust fund that we would be tapping for this additional project is the school repair and maintenance trust fund, and the balance of that currently is $652,360.46. It's worth noting that we made about $8,000 in interest in the last quarter on that account, which is pretty exciting. If you think back a couple of years when we made nothing on those investments, it's pretty big. So once you adjust for remember we have two capital reserve funds that we're working with. One is the school repair and maintenance. The other one is the school improvement fund. Remember, we decided when we built the capital improvement plan, we were going to spend down and eliminate eventually the school repair and maintenance fund because it's a narrower fund. We're going to keep the school improvement fund open because it allows us to do more things. So there's $200,000 still to be deposited from last year that will go into those funds. So to give you a broader sense of what does it mean after we pay all the bills from this summer, including the project we're proposing, we will still have $654,596 in capital reserve for facilities projects at the end of this. So we're still in a safe place for that.
And Dave, I do really appreciate the aerial view photo with your color coding. As simple as you might have thought it was, it actually enables me to really understand where, the current work is happening and where the unexpected repairs are going to happen.
As well as how massive our roof structures are.
Yeah.
Anything else? Thank you, Dave. If the board agrees, so next on our agenda is the school board goals update and the backyard bash debrief. I'd actually like to flip the order of that if the board agrees, because I think some of what we learned at the backyard bash will dovetail into the discussion of goals. So if everybody's amenable to that. just to set the stage, the Backyard Bash was a week ago tomorrow at the rec center. Very large crowd that was there. The board set up a table and we covered it in a few different shifts. As Todd's been saying, we were literally the neighbor who handed out toothbrushes on Halloween. We were handing out pencils and bookmarks to
Didn't have a
kids
dunk tank.
in an event full of food and candy. But we did get out and had an opportunity to interface with community members. We were specifically trying to gather some opinions on the cell phone law that just passed the legislature and was signed by the governor, but also generally, being available for any other commentary that members of the public had. So with that said, I just open the floor. Did anybody have any observations or particularly meaningful feedback that you got from people there?
Yeah, so, go ahead.
Go ahead, Gary.
Well, I think next year we definitely need to get a fire truck, a police car, a dog. Because
bring my dog.
those were the draws, really. The police truck and the fire were definitely draws. So I was just kind of wandering around asking people what their opinions were. I may have slightly misled people about the law because I don't think I fully understood the requirements of, as you say, bell to bell. But I talked to a variety of people from various ages. There was a bunch of educators there. I talked to some teenagers, and the predominant theme from everyone was really not having phones during lectures in the classroom. Like they should be stowed away, but there for an emergency. Even the teenagers, I was really surprised. I expected them to want a policy requiring them to check their phone every 5 minutes or something, but most people said they thought they should be put away. They thought it should be graduated based on ages and responsibilities. The biggest takeaway that kind of struck me is I had an opportunity to talk to some law enforcement folks about it, and their kind of side of the issue struck me in that it can make it difficult for them during an emergency response. Actually, having phones can make it more difficult because they may get too many phone calls. They'll get parents showing up who shouldn't be where they're showing up. They will clog phone lines and cell networks. So in their point of view, having less phones is probably better. They understand. I think most of them understood that parents get anxious, and I'm sure they'd be anxious if they were in a similar situation, but it doesn't help them to necessarily have them cell phones there and people inundating them with phone calls. So it's a perspective I hadn't considered.
Kathy?
Well, I stood in place and made sure I gave pencils, but
Yep.
I also had somebody come up and explain the capital improvement plan to me, which was nice. But next door to me was the Lamprey Health Center, and the athletic trainer, well, I gave you the card with the number.
Yep.
I think she's the supervisor, wanted to know if Newmarket had on-site physicals before the beginning of school, because they had just done that over in Exeter the day before, so all fall athletes came to the school, they got their physicals in, one-shot deal, and then they went home. They didn't have to make appointments or anything like that. She gave me her name, which I handed off to you, and so I'm bringing that up to ask if that has ever happened, or if it's happening, or if it's something that should be considered in the future.
To my knowledge, it is not currently happening. I can't speak to the past, but it wouldn't be that hard to offer if that was something that people wanted.
Anything
So-
else?
Other than they made pretty good lemonade. But it was nice to see the crowd there, and a few people did stop by and talk to me, but I let you two meander, and you had to run over to your other, and thank you very
Yep.
much for setting up the tent with the information and all that, so good job.
Thank you. Broadly, I think the themes that I encountered were what Gary is describing. It seemed The two things that seem more or less universal is nobody thinks that personal devices at the elementary school are a good idea under any circumstances, and nobody thinks that personal devices being out during instructional time at the high school is a good idea. The angle that I encountered, I guess, that I hadn't thought about or thought enough about, one person who actually works in the schools as a substitute pointed out that a lot of glucose monitors are tied to an app on the phone, which is, I wouldn't have any reason to know that, I guess, but so there is, I guess, a use case there that would say, an all-out, don't bring it to school whatsoever situation. And this person also pointed out that there are parents who remotely monitor their children's blood glucose level because that app is network connected. So I hadn't really thought of that. I did encounter a couple of folks who, I don't know them, I don't know their family situation. I'll just say they presented as being about the right age to have high school kids, who mentioned that they felt uncomfortable with the notion of not being able to get in touch with their kids directly as opposed to going through the front office. So, okay, I thank them for their feedback. There's a few different things to unpack in a reaction like that, I guess. Other than that, I mean, the notes that I made for myself afterwards, just a few things that people shared that didn't have anything to do with cell phones. Somebody asked if we had or were thinking of having a girls' field hockey team. I said, that sounds great. Would you be interested in coaching? He laughed and said, okay, I get your point. There was a parent of a soccer player who wanted to know what we were looking at doing to keep the fields from getting so torn up and potentially dangerous, as we've seen the past couple of soccer seasons. I just thank them for the feedback and briefly explain that's sort of a joint discussion between the rec department and the school district that's ongoing, and I think neither side feels that they have complete control or complete responsibility.
I think that's an accurate statement. Yes.
Of the situation, but we're trying to come to a resolution. Yeah, pencils and bookmarks, not a huge draw.
They're nice sayings.
Yeah, they are. That was, did get one very positive comment from a gentleman who didn't realize that we had a capital maintenance plan for the school buildings and was impressed by what we described, and feels like that's a major step forward relative to either the last he knew or what his expectations were, one or the other. So, all right.
Would this be a time, I was just thinking when you were talking about cell phones and the comment about not being able to get a hold of your child. I was just thinking that particularly in the middle and high school, if students did not have them at all, I would think about the impact that could have on the front office in terms of, calling down, interrupting, where so-and-so, you're taking the bus because this happened, or your whatever got canceled, now you need to do that. I know that I personally talk with Brenda Collins at elementary school front office at least once a week, and I'm just one parent trying to keep track of, kids' activities in elementary school. So if it was turned into a don't bring it situation, I think that could cause the front office to get flooded in the mornings and afternoons with passing along, being the middle person in terms of the messenger passing along information to students. So
that brings up a little, probably anecdotal and shows my age, but if the front office has to be responsible for relaying all these messages, would they be able to, at the end of the day, give out announcements and say the kids' names, or is that a privacy thing?
We'd have to come up with, actually, I had some conversation. At the elementary school, it already happens. They already have a system in place that messages get delivered and that it's tracked down. Middle school, in the last couple of years, we haven't had any phones in the middle school for the last 2 years, and so the team structure there works pretty well to deliver messages. At the high school level, it would be challenging, where we'd have to figure it out. I mean, things like, okay, there's a soccer game this afternoon that gets rained out, it's canceled. Okay, how are you communicating with mom and dad? Like, okay, don't pick me up, I'm not going to Hanover, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, those kind of things. We definitely have to do some problem solving around that and figure out how that would work. And it absolutely would be a different experience for our office staff to try to manage that. We just got to figure out how it would be. I also think it's a matter of educating parents
Right.
too. I will tell you, we went through this when I was in Oyster River, where we did away with cell phones, particularly at the middle school. And one of the things we found, it was more often the parents that had a hard time with it than it was the kids.
Right.
Because the parents wanted to be able to text and say, hey, your dentist appointment got shifted to this time or that time, and not having that access was harder for them. And so I think it is a matter of educating parents and you know, and there are certain times a day where you can call in and the message can be delivered, but there are certain times it's going to be hard. Like at lunchtime, when kids are in the cafeteria, it's an easy time to go in and find a kid and say, here's your message.
3
in the
minutes
middle of
before
science
dismissal.
class, not so much. You know.
So one more question. So is there a district-wide alert system, like for no school or, so could that be, that might be one of the suggestions for high school, that if there's a game canceled, that goes out on that kind of a system for...
Oh, yeah, and actually those systems already exist.
Yeah.
We have Infinite Campus is the message sender we do for school cancellations and stuff, and the athletic department uses, I forget what it's called, Big Teams, is that what it's called?
Big teams is what they're,
Is it? Yeah. I don't
That's
know.
my
I
best
uninstalled it
recollection.
recently. I uninstalled it in May, actually.
Okay, so you
Interesting.
blocked it out of your memory.
Yeah.
But there is a mechanism there for it. I would say,
Sports
though...
Go.
Say it again?
No, sorry. I think it's Sports Go, but
Okay. But
whatever. There's a system.
But there's a mechanism. I will say, though, that I still think texting has been the primary mode of communication for after-school sports and clubs, because it is so unique to a particular, it's not everybody, it's just the kids in that thing. So again, it's culturally, you just got to figure out how to manage it. But yeah.
yeah, I agree, and just the fact that there are, distinct periods of the day where, I mean, the office should know where they expect a child to be at that time. That doesn't guarantee that they're there for any number of valid or invalid reasons. So it's going to be a little tough. All right, so our goals that we set are in the board packet. I think community engagement, we took a good step on that one in the context of the Backyard Bash. So Todd, can you just give us a quick rundown on what has been done, what's in the plan for this year for the school district website?
Oh, district website. We are going to continue to promote the revolving menu of events. I was looking at it earlier today, and it still has all our stuff from June, so hasn't changed much, although we did add the we're hiring link to it. We're trying to keep it updated. We're trying to keep it relevant. One of the projects that we started at the end of last year, and there's a couple of them on the website now, are teacher profiles. There's one about Megan Averill on there now. And then there was one about Erin Milbury from the elementary school. We're going to continue to try to do more profiles of our educators so people can know the people that work with kids. And certainly trying to get as many opportunities for student activities. Like right now there's I believe it's the fourth grade project fair. I'm having a hard time remembering the specific name of the project fair, but that's on there. So trying to get as many opportunities to showcase kid information, and we continue to try to refine it and make the website, easier to navigate. I mean, when websites get too dense, so if you have to do 14 clicks to find something, people don't do that. So if the stuff is important, it's going to be quick and easy to get to, and so we need to be able to do that, so we're trying to make that happen. But again, anytime there's a topic that the board wants to see on the website, give me a shout out and we'll make it happen.
Sounds good. Post-graduation student achievement, I think if everybody agrees, maybe we give the guidance department staff a bit of time after the start of the school year to get through schedule changes and all of the other things that they're dealing with at the start of the school year, and then say maybe late September, early October timeframe, invite, because I understand that they are doing some tracking of our graduates in the world, which I'd personally like to hear more about, but like I said, they've got some much more pressing things they're going to be dealing with for the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Yes, I would agree to that.
Centering student activities and achievement. Much to the chagrin of the students, we're about to come back into the time where we can have them come to board meetings again. So we'll look forward to inviting and entertaining students and teachers at board meetings to try to keep elevating all of the good work that's going on there.
And I did have some conversation as a follow-up, the fifth grade student ambassadors. They're ready, willing to be a participant in our board meetings as often as we want them. I think having them come to every meeting might be excessive, but I talked with Sean about maybe having them come in quarterly, so there could be like a report from the elementary school, and they would love to do that, so we just got to simply pick the dates. So, but I think that'd be a nice way to get more elementary school information being shared with the board.
Absolutely.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of falls on you and I, but we might want to maybe try to map out in broad strokes the agendas of like 3 or 4 meetings in advance, because ideally we would want them coming on the times when we have a lighter agenda. But, I mean, not that they would stay anyway, but the worst thing I can imagine is them having to feel bad about sneaking out when we're 10 minutes into the discussion about something really
Yeah, when's the audit presentation? Maybe we could schedule for just after audit presentation.
I was actually thinking they could ask questions to the
auditor.
auditor.
That would be good.
Yeah, nothing like a good audit conversation to inspire our fifth graders.
I would think.
Sorry, Bryant. We know you probably find that way more exciting. All right. Thank you. Anything else from the board on our goals before we move along? Seeing none.
Can I just say, I like the fact that we put them in front of ourselves every month or two. Just even if we haven't done anything, it's good to just remind ourselves what they are. So I think it's good. So I thank you guys for doing that.
All right. Do we have any donations to acknowledge this evening? Can't win them all. So we will move on to action items. I would accept a motion to approve the minutes from our July 17th meeting.
So moved.
Thank you, Gary.
Second.
Thank you, Lonnie. Did anybody see anything going through the minutes that requires edits or?
There's a tiny typo in section committee updates. It's pretty obvious. It's just an extra space and a comma.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Helen's watching right now and she's taking notes of that.
They're so clear.
Right now.
They're so clear.
All right, with that small correction,
Aye.
Opposed? We are unanimous.
One abstention.
One abstention, thank you. 4-0 and 1. All right, next up, I make a motion to approve the manifest in the amount of $492,322 and no cents.
Second.
Motion by me. Second by Gary. All those in favor?
Aye.
We're unanimous. I would accept a motion to approve the public hearing item that we discussed earlier to expend funds from the School Repair and Maintenance Trust Fund due to the unanticipated extra work and cost of the roof replacement at the junior-senior high school.
So moved.
Thank you, Lonnie.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Kathy. Any discussion of that one? All those in favor? Aye. We are unanimous.
Call the roofers, Dave.
Release the hounds.
He's already texting.
Send it on the text.
And last action item for this evening, I'd accept a motion to approve Superintendent Allen's nomination of Bryant Lee to take on the role of business administrator.
Motion to approve said nomination.
Thank you, Jeff.
Second?
Thank you, Lonnie. Bryant, thank you for being willing to step in. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's make it official.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are unanimous.
Can't get out now, Brian.
You voted on it yourself. All right. We don't have a need for a non-public this evening.
I don't have any need.
We're setting a record.
Going
Okay.
once? All right. I would accept a motion to adjourn.
Also move.
Thank you, Kathy.
Seconded.
Thank you, Jeff. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody, really? All right, we're adjourned.
Never get
Thank you.